looking at the house, we already have modeled the vertical structure. We have this lower terrace, and now we need the floor or the upper terrace and the roof. So let's do it. This is lower terrace, and now here we have here the floor and then the roof. If we open level 0 again, we understand that this is the rectangle that defines both the floor and the roof. So we are going to do it again, component, model in place. Now we have floors. Okay. And I'm going to select extrusion, and I'm going to start from this point up to this point here. And then this line, we're going to trim. And now again, the distance between this column until this edge of the rectangle should be the same as the distance from this column until this edge. We can take the measurement, we can copy, or we can use a mirror. I will use the mirror, but now the mirror axis is between these two columns. It's at the midpoint between these two columns. So I can draw another auxiliary line, this one, and then I can select this, draw axis, and we're going to draw the axis between from this midpoint going up, and there you go. And we delete this one, and trim. Once we have the rectangle, we can finish, and on the 3D view, we can adjust the height. Okay, where is that height? This is the upper and this is the lower level of this terrace, of this floor here. And finally, we need the roof. So for the roof, we can change the level if we go from level 11.9 until level 13.6. So we can use level 11.9. But here you see that we can't see what we have below. This is because in the view range, if we edit, the bottom range is associated with this level. If we want to see what's underneath this, then we have to select here unlimited and unlimited. We click apply, and then we see this. Okay. I need that reference because the roof should be the same rectangle as the floor. So I need this distance, and selecting architecture, component, model in place, I can select a roof here, and selecting extrusion. Instead of drawing lines, I'm going to draw a rectangle because now I have this reference. So I know that the rectangle is the same as the floor, but it's at a different level. Then we click OK, we go back to the 3D view, and let's check the levels. Okay, it has to go up and up to this point. Finish model. And well, apparently it's a roof and it has a different color, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so we have vertical structural elements. We have all the horizontal slabs. We have this lower terrace, the upper terrace or floor, and finally I have the roof. What's next? On level 0, we have these are the only internal partitions that we have. And okay, I'm going to use again the same option, architecture component, model in place, but this is going to be slightly more complicated. It's not just a rectangle, so I'm going to trace this shape that we have here, including the cabinets and all that stuff, okay? So if I go to architecture, component, model in place, what is this? Those are walls, because those are interior walls, but I can select this category, walls. And now I'm going to select extrusion, and I'm going to trace this. Okay, so tracing this, I don't know dimensions, so I'm going to make up things, kind of, but I have to be consistent. So if I decide that this wall is 4 inches, then all the walls should be 4 inches as well. And if I select that this is 1 foot, try to round up things, then here, and then, yeah, you see that Revit knows that there's another line, and this dashed line shows up. So that means that those things are aligned. So that's fine. And then what's the distance of this? 4 inches, or the thickness, it's 4 inches. And here, the same thing happens. So this is aligned, we have this. And the thickness, 4 inches. And then I can go back 3 feet 6 inches, that's fine. Here we have a cabinet, and I have something like this. And now this wall has to be 4 inches, and going down, there you go. If we click OK, and then we go to the 3D view, where is it? Well, it's here. Okay, so now we have to adjust it starts here. And where does it end? Well, in Farnsworth house, this element doesn't get up to the roof. I'll show you later, but it doesn't get up to the roof. Okay, so we have this volume, but this volume is a solid volume. And what does it mean? It means that if we use this option, section box, the section box shows up, we select it and we drag it down, down, down. Okay, so this is a solid element, but it's not solid. We know that it's hollow because we have the bathrooms and we have the mechanical room here. How can we do it? If we select this element and we select edit in place and select it again, we can edit extrusion. So by editing the extrusion, I can change things. And what do I want to change? I want to add all these elements here and these internal partitions here. Okay, let's do it. We know that the thickness of this wall is 4 inches. So it's 4 inches. And what about this one? I have to make a decision about the thickness of that wall, because it should be the same as this one, the same as this one, kind of. So this is 8 inches. Okay, 8 inches. Delete this. Trim. Delete this one. And now this is going to be another 4-inch wall. I'm going to select this one and that one, copy. I adjust this here. And I trim this, and then I need another line here. And I'm going to use another option. I'm going to use offset. If you use offset, and this distance has to be 8 inches. So here we can type 8 inches. And you see that if we hover the mouse, we can go either downwards or upwards. Okay, so we have to go 8 inches downwards like this. And now I can trim again this one and this one and this one and this one. If we do this, if we have two closed loops, well, this is not a closed loop. Okay, I'm going to continue this. I don't understand this difference, so I'm going to line this up because I think it's better. And same thing with this. And now trim. Here you go. So now we have closed loops. We have the first one, then we have this one, and the mechanical one. We don't have this yet. Let's see what happens. If I do this and I go to the 3D view, you see that now we have rooms here. This is still solid because I haven't done anything with this, but these two rooms are here. So I have created this void in this solid mass, but we are not done yet. So we can go to level, select this, edit in place, select again, edit extrusion. And finally, I have to continue with this. Offset, this is 4 inches. By default, we have 8, type 4, and we go 4 inches in this direction. And I'm going to do this with 4 inches too, and this is 4 inches. Overlap. So probably there is another. Oh, yeah. Well, can do this. And now trim. 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 Oh, I need one more. I can continue this one and trim and trim. Okay, so now all these lines are closed loops, and I can do this. I can go to the 3D view and finish the model. So all the rooms are there. We have bathroom, and mechanical room here. If you want to see the whole picture, you have to select the section box, move it up, and we do have this. Okay, so now we have the vertical structure, we have the horizontal elements, the lower terrace, upper terrace, the roof. So the next step is the envelope. The envelope is quite simple because it's just glass, but it's not only glass. You see that we have here some frames, and here, this is the entrance. We have a frame. There are 2 doors here. So why do we need frames? Well, because glass can't be as big as we want. We have limits because glass is fragile and it can break easily. So that's why we need frames to reduce the size of a glass. So in this case, we have a frame here in this corner, and we have a frame here in the middle between these 2 columns. I have a frame here. So let's start with something very simple. Let's start with a wall made of glass, and that will be the envelope. And then we will complicate things, okay? Even we will do a different shape for this vertical structure, but let's start with the basic volume. And the basic volume, if we don't look at the frames, we have glass here. Let's do it. So we go to level 0, we see that the glass is here. Okay, so this is the glass envelope, this thick gray line. You can see that here we have the frames. Those black dots are the frames, but we will do the frames later, not now. So there are different things we can do that, but if we are using this model in place option, we're going to be consistent. Do we have glass here? We don't, but we can change the material. Okay, so we are going to use this option, walls, and then we will change the material to something transparent. Okay. I'm going to use extrusion again, and let's do this. Let's work with this straight line. This is the limit. Okay, so we can trace. Oh, actually, we can use a rectangle because we can trace the original. But the problem is that we don't know this, because again, we have to be consistent, and the distance between this column and this line should be the same as the distance between that column and that line. So I'm going to do this wrong on purpose, and then I need a reference line, so I can use this line here, and then I can move it. If I select the line, this point, and move it to this point here. So now we know that by moving this here, this is the right element. Now I delete this auxiliary line, make sure that we trim everything, and we do this. And where is the wall? Okay, it's down here. So we have to go up and up. Well, is this what we want? Not really. This is not transparent, but I told you that we can change the material. So if we select this, let's finish the model. If we select this, sometimes here we have materials. We don't, in the properties windows, we don't have it. So we have to edit in place and then select it. And here we do have a material. You see that we have a material by category, so it doesn't mean anything. But if we click here, we have list of default materials in Revit. Do we have something like glass? Yep, apparently we have glass. Okay, so let's select this glass and see what happens. Okay, and finish model. So you see that we have something that is transparent. Okay, so this is the basic model or volume of this Farnsworth house. We have all the structural elements, vertical and horizontal elements. We have internal partitions, opaque internal partitions, and we have a transparent envelope. That actually, if you select the section box and you move it down, this is not exactly what we want, because here we have a solid element, transparent but solid, and we don't need that. We need something that it's not solid. We need to have a thickness here, and to have a space inside the house. Can we do it? We can edit this in place. We can edit extrusion. If we go to level 0, it will be easier. And then we need to create an offset to all these lines because this is the thickness that we want for this glass wall. So what's that thickness? I know, let's say 4 inches is too much. No, 4 inches is too much. Let's say 2 inches. Okay, let's make it 4, and then we will change it. 4, 2, 3, and 4. And now you have to trim. This internal rectangle, click finish and finish model. And then we go to the 3D view. This is exactly what we wanted. We have a transparent wall here, but we have space inside. This is not just a block of glass. Those are glass walls. Select the section box, move it up, and there you go. It doesn't change. Apparently, it doesn't change. But if we select this, we can see that there's a double line. So this is the thickness of the glass. Now we are going to keep adding details. From the basic volume, the first thing we can do is we need some steps. Okay, so adding those steps, because here we have the soil, we have to go up, and then we have to go up again. If we go to the west elevation, we can see we can see here that we have 1, 2, 3 steps. And here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it depends. We don't know that. As you see, the soil level is not a straight line. It's a natural line, so we don't know where this is going to be. But anyway, let's start with this one. Here you know that we have 3 steps, 1, 2, 3. And those steps are not as thick as the floor. Oh, now I see what's going on now. I did something wrong at the beginning because the space of the lower terrace is this one. There you go. And now probably I have to adjust. Align this, this, and this. And now, okay, yeah, I made a mistake because this is a lower terrace and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. And probably I need to bring all these elements down. Okay, let's do something now. I'm going to copy this level and I'm going to create another level here to fit weight. And this is level -3 and 4 inches. Okay, and I'm going to bring all these structural elements. I'm going to align these. I'm going to use wireframe because at this point I see that I can align everything here. The same thing with this. No. Let's move it down. Align. And then let's move it down and align. Now if we go to the 3D view, front view, to move this down. For some reason, there is not. Okay, and this one here, there is not a snapping point at the level. Know why? But basically, I have to bring all these elements down. Let's see, how can I do it? Move them down. Then from the front view, use align. Okay, and now I think they are all. Yep, so the west elevation, we start on this level and then we go up. But now all the columns are up to this level, and I'm going to create those 5 steps here. Well, creating steps, there is a tool here, stairs in Revit, but don't use this. We're going to stick to this option, the component model in place, because I want you to understand what the staircase is, and probably we have to abide by some rules when it comes to the height and the length of the steps. So now we have this reference. We know that the stairs, the first step starts here and the end step is this one. So I'm going to create a diagonal line that connects these corners of every step. So we can use model line. If you need to place this somewhere, select grid 1. And if this is, let's say this is the first point, then we do this, connecting the corners, kind of. Okay, so this is the line that defines the corners of our steps. Then how many steps do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, can we divide this into 5 equal segments? We can. There are different ways to do that, so I'm going to use one of the ways, and let's maybe it's not the easiest one, but okay. I'm going to model a line from here, and make sure you see when we have this symbol, this is perpendicular. Okay, so let's create a perpendicular line here, and now I'm going to move this up to the first point. And then how many perpendicular lines I need? Be careful, because sometimes you can select this. So make sure that you select this one. And I'm going to copy 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. The only thing I know is that the 5th is this one, is the end of this line. And then the others, I don't mind where they are. Like this. Okay, so I have 5 segments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And each segment has a different length. If you click annotate and select align dimension, click on all these lines, okay? By chance, all these are 1 foot. This is 1 foot and 4 inches, and this is 2 feet and 2 inches. So each of them has a different distance. And now you see this symbol EQ. So select this, and now we have a segment divided in 5 equal parts. Okay, and now we can create component, model in place. Do we have stairs? Yes, we do. Okay, so select stairs. And again, we can use extrusion. And I know I'm going to use a rectangle, 2 inches, probably 3 inches, and the length is 1 foot and 4 inches. Okay, let's do this. And now copy this rectangle. We have to copy this 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. And this last rectangle is bigger than others. Let's go up to this point. Okay, so we have created this element. So I created the steps. Now on the 3D view, I have to see where the steps are. Okay, they are not in the right place, but that's why we have the level 0. And we can select this element and move it here. And here. Each model. So now the steps are in the right place. We can delete this. Okay, so it's a very easy way to do that if we have a reference. But now we make sure that all the steps have the same size, all the rising are the same height, and the length it's the same for all the steps. And then I can copy this element. If I go to level 0, I can copy this here. And then on the west elevation, I have to move by. Yeah, careful. I can move them down. There you go. Okay, so we are almost done with the, well, we're done with the volume, with the main volume. And I think this is enough for the first class. But we will keep adding details. And then once we have added more details, we will start taking screenshots, or we will explore the rendering options for this. But at least the main volume, it's already done.